For thousands of years, humans have been obsessed with immortality. We've searched for fountains of youth, tried every anti-aging cream on the market, and spent billions trying to crack the code of living forever. Meanwhile, nature already figured it out. And honestly, the answer's been swimming around in our oceans and walking across our planet this whole time. We just weren't paying attention. There are creatures on Earth right now that laugh in the face of death. Some of them have been alive since before the pyramids were built. Others can literally hit the reset button on their own biology when they're about to die. And what's wild is that by studying these animals, scientists think they might actually unlock secrets that could help us live longer, healthier lives. So, let's talk about 5 creatures that basically broke the rules of aging. And trust me, by the end of this, you're going to look at a jellyfish very differently. Let's start with something you might have heard of: the Galapagos giant tortoise. The Galapagos giant tortoise can live for over 150 years, with some individuals reaching 175 years or more. To put that in perspective, there are tortoises alive today that were born before the Civil War ended. Think about that. Before cars, before electricity, before most of modern civilization as we know it. But here's what makes them really interesting. In 2012, a tortoise named Lonesome George died at the Charles Darwin Research Station. George was the last of his species from Pinta Island, and when scientists analyzed his DNA, they found something incredible. These tortoises have special gene variations that help them repair damaged DNA, fight off cancer, and keep their immune system strong even as they age. It's like they have a built-in maintenance system that just keeps working century after century. A researcher named Carlos Lopez Otan from the University of Oviedo studied George's genome and said they found gene variants affecting 6 different hallmarks of aging. 6. Most animals are lucky if they have one good trick for living longer. These tortoises have half a dozen, and the way they pull this off is actually pretty clever. Since they're cold-blooded, they don't generate heat inside their bodies like we do. They get their warmth from the sun instead. This means their metabolism runs incredibly slow, which creates way less cellular damage over time. Basically, they're not wearing themselves out as fast as warm-blooded animals do. But if you think 175 years is impressive, wait until you hear about what's swimming in the deep ocean. The Greenland shark lives in the freezing waters of the North Atlantic and Arctic Ocean, and these things can live for at least 250 years. Some estimates put their maximum age at 500 years or more. 500 years. That means there could be sharks alive right now that were swimming around when Shakespeare was writing plays. In 2016, a team of scientists led by Julius Nielsen from the University of Copenhagen studied 28 Greenland sharks that had been accidentally caught in fishing nets. They used radiocarbon dating on proteins in the shark's eyes, and what they found was honestly shocking. One female shark that was about 16 feet long was estimated to be around 390 years old. And here's something that'll blow your mind. These sharks don't even reach sexual maturity until they're about 150 years old. That's a century and a half before they can reproduce. Imagine waiting that long just to have kids. So, what's the secret to their long-lasting lifespan? It's pretty much the same deal as the tortoises, frankly. These sharks live in extremely cold water, sometimes as deep as 7,200 feet below the surface. The cold slows down their metabolism to an absolute crawl. They grow less than a centimeter per year. Everything about them happens in slow motion, which means their cells barely age at all. But wait, we're not even close to the record yet. In 2009, scientists discovered a black coral off the coast of Hawaii that was 4,265 years old. 4,000 years. This coral was alive when the pyramids were being built in Egypt. When they carbon dated it, the researchers from Texas A&M University couldn't believe the results. The coral, called Leopathes, grows so slowly that it only adds about 4 to 35 micrometers per year. That's thousandths of a millimeter. You literally can't see it growing. What's further fascinating is that the individual polyps on the coral, the little living parts, are only a few years old. But they keep replacing themselves over and over for thousands of years while building this skeleton underneath. It's like a building where the residents change, but the structure just keeps getting older and older. The coral lives in deep, stable waters where nothing really changes, no temperature swings, no predators to worry about, no stress, just thousands of years of peaceful existence in the dark. And if that sounds extreme, there's something even more ridiculous living in Antarctica right now: the Antarctic glass sponge. Specifically, a species called Anoxicalix jubini. Scientists have found specimens that are estimated to be 15,000 years old. Some studies suggest they could be even older, up to 23,000 years, but sea level changes during the last ice age make that unlikely. Still, 15,000 years is absolutely insane. These sponges live in the freezing waters under Antarctic ice at depths between 15 and 144 meters. They can grow over 6 feet tall, and they basically just sit there, filtering water so slowly you'd never notice they're alive. One specimen that was tagged in the 1930s and recaptured decades later had barely grown at all. A scientist named Suzanne Gatti studied these sponges and said, even if the 2-meter-high specimen in the Ross Sea was only half the age suggested by growth curves, it would still be over 6,000 years old, and hence the oldest living creature not only in the ocean but also compared with terrestrial life. The sponge has almost no metabolism, no nervous system, no complex organs. It's about as simple as an animal can be while still being an animal, and somehow that simplicity is the key. Because without all the complex machinery that breaks down in other creatures, there's just not much that can go wrong. But here's where things get really interesting. All of these animals, impressive as they are, still age. Slowly, yes, but they're still moving in one direction, forward through time, getting older every year. Except for one creature that said screw the rules and learned how to age backward. Meet Turritopsis dohrnii, the immortal jellyfish. This tiny jellyfish, smaller than your pinky nail at just 4.5 millimeters wide, has the most insane survival trick in the entire animal kingdom. When it gets injured or sick or stressed or even just old, it doesn't die. Instead, it transforms itself back into a baby, not like Benjamin Button getting younger while staying the same person. No, this jellyfish literally turns back into a completely different life stage, like a butterfly transforming back into a caterpillar. The process is called transdifferentiation, and it's extremely rare in nature. Basically, the jellyfish's specialized adult cells that are supposed to do one specific job, reprogram themselves into completely different types of cells. The jellyfish sinks to the ocean floor, reabsorbs its tentacles, turns into a blob, and within 24 to 36 hours, it becomes a polyp again. That's an earlier stage in the jellyfish life cycle. From there, it grows back into an adult jellyfish, rinse and repeat, forever. Christian Sommer and Giorgio Bavistrello were the first to discover this. Back in the early 1990s, they were studying these jellyfish in a lab in Italy when they noticed something weird. The adult jellyfish they thought would die or reproduce were somehow turning back into polyps. At first, they didn't believe it. It shouldn't be possible. But a Japanese scientist named Shin Kubota from Kyoto University took it to the next level. He's been keeping colonies of these jellyfish in his lab since the 1990s, and he's watched them reverse their aging process over and over. During a 2-year period, he saw his colony transform itself 11 times. 11 times they died, and 11 times they came back to life. Now you just sit for a second and think about what that means. In theory, if nothing eats it and nothing goes wrong, this jellyfish could live forever. True biological immortality, as it doesn't die of old age. Ever. And scientists are losing their minds over this because if we can figure out how it works, the medical applications could be enormous. Michael Layden, a professor at Lehigh University, said the jellyfish hold important clues to maintaining a long life and lengthening the health span of humankind. And who knows, maybe one day, thanks to a tiny jellyfish smaller than your fingernail, we'll figure out how to live a lot longer ourselves. If you want to see more videos about the incredible creatures and mysteries of our natural world, subscribe and join us as we explore more ideas that defy everything we thought we knew about life and death.